So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy Ellen. I'm back with another reaction, man. And next up on the blacklist, we got the insane lies of Chandler Halderson. Y'all ready for that? About to be crazy. Shout outs to that chapter, because you know he about to take us through a range of emotions, you know what I mean? Mostly being pissed off with whatever this case is about to be about. So, if you're just getting home, man, kick your feet up, relax, let your hair down, get you something nice, cozy up with, something to drink. Make sure the windows, doors is locked, everything is secure, because you're about to be locked in for the next 30-something to 40 minutes, all right? Let's get to it.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this whole video, what we're doing is, hey, we are Wisconsining once again. Or they're Wisconsining, I need to work on that one. It seems like we've been there countless times, and who knew, that the Packers weren't the biggest killers in the Badger state. This story makes me think of Badgers, actually. Grand little lads, nice and gentle, until you press them. Let's see what happened when they pressed Chandler Halderson. Chandler, could he be any more of a? Let's give it a go. So let me set the scene before I dig the scene, being Dane County. Dane County is in southern Wisconsin, home to the state capital, Madison, and also home to about 500,000 people. And if you were to work in any of the myriad industries in the capital, you might be living in one of the suburb towns surrounding. Maybe even, perchance, the town of Windsor. It's actually a village, former town. I could look into what the difference is between a town and a village, but I can't think of anything less interesting, so. It's located north by about 25 minutes. It's a leafy little place, home to less than 10,000 people, and also home to the Halderson family. The Haldersons were made up of Bart, Krista, and sons Mitchell and Chandler. In 2021, Bart, 50 years old, he was a tax man, Must have been a big fan of the Beatles. He was working at a big old accounting firm in Madison. Krista, 53 years old, stay-at-home mother as her two boys grew, and then went on to work as a receptionist at a car company, also in mad old Madison. The parents are described
So basically, typical, hard-working family so far, all right?
as, good parents. Bart, especially hard-working. Krista, a bit of a helicopter parent, but they loved and supported their two boys. They had expectations for their kids, but they would do whatever they could to support them. So the family, grew, raised in the area, and they lived in Sheboygan for a time. It's a funny name. Why do I know that?
Yeah, we sold about 623 copies of that.
In Chicago.
Ah, man. Classic movie. She hitched a ride. They were on their way to Sheboygan. Home Alone, for those of y'all that don't know. And that's very disrespectful if you've never seen Home Alone.
No, Sheboygan. Very big in Sheboygan.
Oh yeah, before settling into lovely little Windsor. The family also owned a cabin in Langlade County, up north again, in a very forested area full of recreation activities. Mitchell was 18 months older than Chandler, born in 1996. After college, he went on to work in the tech industry, had moved out of the family home, but still lived in Dane County. He was engaged, getting on, doing well. Chandler, Chaz, he went by a lot. He was born in March 98. In 2019, started getting an associate's degree from the Madison Area Technical College, and would go on to become a teaching assistant there. He'd also been a swim instructor at the YMCA, had taken part in rescue diving, and he had previously been an Eagle Scout. He also worked at American Family Insurance as a community manager type job. Jobs he could do as, due to the pandemic, they were online. And he still lived with Bart and Krista. Oh, pretty impressive. Right, get a load of this. He had a job lined up at SpaceX. He was moving to Florida, to Titusville. He already had an apartment sorted out, and his car, and his girlfriend was going to come with him. I mean, SpaceX, that's impressive, right? That's the big leagues. He also had a unicorn. Chandler and Mitchell, they were pretty close, growing up together. One of the ways they would stay kind of in touch with each other was they would play, online FPS shooter games together a lot. Life was good, the relationships in the family were healthy. Fine family, everything was dandy. But one thing did happen in June of 2021. Chandler fell down the stairs banged his noodle. He had a bad concussion, neck brace, and this was just after Mitchell. He was hospitalized after getting diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Take us to summer 2021, me. So everything started on July 1st, but it had been building for quite some time. On that day, a Thursday, Bart and Krista Halderson disappeared from their quiet house on its quiet road. This was the Thursday before the big 4th of July celebration on the Sunday. Well, it was actually going to be celebrated on the Saturday, but 4th was actually Sunday. Big things are happening. A lot of big things were happening that week, alright. 1 week later, they were reported missing. Chandler waltzed into the local police department, said he hadn't seen hide nor hair of them since July 1st. It's now July 7th. Where do you think, they could be? He was asked. What were they doing, when you last seen them? What were they up to? Well, he's...
I don't care. That's a heck of a gap of time for you to finally be all of a sudden now worried about where they are? Took you that long? Okay. First red flag.
Could be, he was asked. What were they doing, when you last seen them? What were they up to? Well, he said last he's seen, they were heading to the cabin up north, up at White Lake. It's about a 3-hour drive away. But since leaving to go there, they never returned, and they were never heard from, apart from one text message. They were supposed to have come back a couple of days ago, he said. They never did. What he said happened, when he last saw his parents, when he last saw Bart and Krista, was on that Thursday, right, the 1st of July. That evening, he'd helped them pack up, as they're going to the cabin, and then they must have left very early Friday morning. They were packing tools, they were packing...
So you were the last person to see him. So first thing I'm gonna ask, if I'm concerned, is can y'all ping their phones? Let's see where their phones are.
Alcohol, they were packing cash. And why were they going up there? Tough one. Depends. They left early Friday morning, but their cars were still at home, so they must have went with others. Others who? A couple of unknown people. So the lads down at the Dane County Sheriff's Office contacted their colleagues at the Langlade County Sheriff's Office. Here, would you mind lashing over to a cabin in White Lake, have a goo, see if you can see the Haldersons are there or something? The son hasn't heard from them other than one text he received on the 4th of July. Made it safely, can't get anything through, and yes, it's packed. Going to White Lake today for the parade, and we'll be home Monday night, Tuesday early. Love you lots. Now, cell service up there was a little bit spotty, and they were known to turn their phones off, from time to time, to avoid just roaming charges. Chandler thought maybe, they mitched off, went to a casino or something, did a bit of gambling. But they weren't gamblers. So, when police arrived to the Halderson's cabin, you can guess what they found.
I mean, everything looks still pretty close up, like it's...
Sheriff's Office, anybody inside? Announce your presence, make yourselves known.
Nobody inside and nothing looks like it's disturbed.
Whew, I thought we was about to see them discover a body. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I was kind of bracing myself to be like, bro, are we about to see them discover a body? Whew.
And you said most of their friends are still in town, back at your hometown.
Yeah, all the ones we could think of that they would come up here with.
Okay.
But I guess we were thinking they came here. I don't know anybody else that has a cabin up here.
Sure.
Absolutely fucking. It was very clear nobody had been there in quite some time. The grass was grown, things were overgrown. That no one had been to that cabin in a long time. Definitely not the Haldersons. And at that point, feeling suspicious, that became the word. And so the search and investigation began.
Thanks for staying with us. Officials are still searching for this couple, Bart and Krista Halderson. Now, there are a lot of questions about the Dane County couple's disappearance that we are working to get some answers to, but tonight, police aren't saying much, and that led us to the couple's son, who says he's just as confused as investigators.
Police say the couple had planned to go to their cabin in Langlade County. Their son, Chandler, asked not to be shown on camera, but he told us he didn't see his parents leave and added they didn't drive themselves.
They were picked up by their friends, who I never got the name of, and I assumed it was someone I was aware of, the close neighbors of theirs up the street, or their best friends down on the east side. So that's what I assumed. I never really asked any further.
And Chandler Halderson says for his parents to leave, even with another person, does happen from time to time. But he tells me another family member went to that cabin to check out cell service and was able to get through.
Well, hopefully we'll get some answers soon. Adam Duxer reporting. Adam, thank you.
The questions not only to Chandler, but everyone. Friends, co-workers.
Why would a person elect not to be shown on camera when you're trying to search for your parents? That don't seem kind of odd to y'all? Maybe it's just me.
It turned out Krista was supposed to be in work on the 2nd of July, the day after Chandler saw them. The day he says they left with the mystery couple. So Krista did not show up for work on the Friday, and this had not been pre-arranged, right? And she was the point of, as a receptionist, she was the point of contact for the car dealership, and she was responsible. She would let you know she was not coming to work. Same with Bart.
When did you start to think, hey, this isn't like them, or they might be missing?
That was the question I was about to ask next. What made you choose that day to say, all right, I think something's wrong. I'm going to go up here and let somebody know. What made that day? You know, what in your mind said, okay, something's not right? Why not before then? Why not even later? Like, that was the question I was waiting on.
When did you start to think, hey, this isn't like them, or they might be missing?
Well, I was told they'd be home Monday or Tuesday. And Tuesday afternoon, I got a little worried. And then Wednesday, when my aunt went to the cabin, that's when I got worried and I went to make a report.
And that was filed yesterday, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you guys right now? You know, how are you kind of getting through what's happening right now? How are you moving from day to day?
The neighbors got me pizza.
She just asked you, how are you getting through day to day? And your response was, the neighbors got me pizza? Wow. So little said, but so much said at the same time right there. Wow. I gotta hear that again.
Right now, you know, how are you kind of getting through what's happening right now? How are you moving from day to day?
The neighbors got me pizza.
The media was on the case. Chandler, being the proactive sort, he went door to door around his neighborhood, looking to see if anyone had a ring camera, Nest, home security, anything that may show who came and who went from the home.
Hi, my name is Chandler Halderson. I live just down the road.
Oh, yeah.
You're the one who called the police.
Yeah.
I was told you the anti-security system. I was wondering if you were able to capture the road or my house.
The police actually came and downloaded everything they have. But it's actually my sister's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they were here, I think till like 9 o'clock last night and downloaded all the video she's got. So we're hoping that...
Yeah, did it capture anything on...
We don't know. They just took a copy of everything, and so we're hoping...
Widening the lens?
Yeah, and it's all... Yeah, and it's all HD, and then I think there's one...
Especially in the dark. It looks like it has a little bit of night vision.
Yeah, and there's one on the corner of the garage, too. I don't know if that one quite goes that direction, but...
Open. Anyone would have like security cameras and stuff like that.
We do. For you guys, okay?
Thank you.
Take care of things.
Take care.
Bye.
neighbors' home security would show, when it was handed over to the investigators, that no one left the home that Friday morning during the time Chandler said his parents left or picked up. You know, this was the time he was saying to anybody who would listen, friends and family, that's when they left. Not according to surveillance. But he was a, you know, swell guy. I just went through his biography. Come on, he's grand. But the Popo police did too. This guy is literally going to be working on rockets. I think he's okay. And sure, he just banjaxed his head when he fell down the stairs. He was bollocksed. The police spoke to Chandler's girlfriend, Kat, and she had just spent the weekend with him right after the parents vanished, and she said everything was completely normal. They enjoyed the holiday, they went out and spent time at Kat's parents' farm. It was great.
So what are we missing? Like, what? My bad. This darn thing, hold on, y'all. I'll be forgetting to turn this thing off. All right. So, what are we missing about Chandler? Something's like going unnoticed. We know he's very smart. He's going to, you know what I mean? He has the job. He was set to move. Him and his girl. Plays video games. He got into the accident, hurt his neck. It's something we're missing. Something. I just can't put my finger on it yet. What we're not seeing about Chandler?
On Kat's parents' farm, they even had a pool, which was great for Chandler because, you know, the injury, falling down the stairs, his legs were hurt, so he would go there again.
You think they had insurance money? Normally, a mother and father being taken out, possibly by a kid, he possibly knows about insurance money. That's my only thing right now that I can think of.
The police wanted to do, you know, a double take on Chandler. This helps, you know, pump the brakes. So did a mystery couple kidnap the Haldersons or something?
Detectives now go door to door here. While sheriff's personnel here in Dane County are checking for any and all information, the missing couple's son says law enforcement in Langlade County has checked on the family's cabin there, and he says that visit only adds to the mystery.
Well, let's take a step back, because the day after celebrating, you know, at Kat's parents' farm for the 4th of July, Chandler returned to that farm himself. Like I said, the pool was great, and it helped with his rehab. Kat's parents told the police, after the investigation had begun and all that, it was odd. He told them he was going to lose out on his job at SpaceX. Oh no. Due to, his neck injury, he couldn't fly. Then he went to use the pool. Kat's mother told the police that after, about an hour, she went to check on him. And he wasn't in the pool, but she did see his car parked in the field nearby. Chandler then emerged from those woods. So she told all of this to the police. And they went out there. They went into those woods. And they found the dismembered body of Bart Halderson.
Oh,
not all of him, though, just his torso. No arms, no legs, no head.
Why?
Bullet wounds.
Why though? Why dismember your parents? Like I said, the only thing I'm thinking of is possibly insurance money. You know what I mean? Your job fell through. You might know your parents had good jobs, probably had a good, insurance plan set up for if anything happened to them. They probably let you know about it, to which I'm starting to be opposed to people letting people know about their insurance policies, because what does that entice people to do to you? Yeah.
Showed he'd been shot in the back before being chopped up. Not far away, they found a tarp. Both Bart and Krista's blood was on it. And near where his car was parked was an oil drum. Inside, broken saw blades and scissors. They were bloody. Damn, Chandler was so close to finding his dad's body. Oh, wait.
Hi, Chandler. How are you doing? Yeah, good. Good. Did you guys switch spots? Yeah. Can I see that red shirt? Yeah. What's going on? All right. So we're just going to talk to you a little bit more, okay? Let's write some stage here. Try that one. right, just so you know, I'm gonna record stuff, okay? Just helps me remember everything and picks up everything that we talk about. So today is July 8th. It's about 5:11 now. We started talking at 5:08. So yesterday, July 7th, I came to your house where you live with your parents, Bart and Krista Halderson. And the reason I was there is you had gone to the Windsor Police Department and reported them missing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't go to the department. I went to the office break room area. Friday morning, I woke up. They had left with the stuff was all set out, and we get to Sunday. It's the 4th. In the morning, I'm a little worried about my family. I think I called my mom. Oh, throughout I've called. I don't know the times though.
Good morning. Jane sends you a picture of the cabin. You see the birch tree and what right to you.
Then I go to the police station because I ask her, when should I make a thing? I'm sorry.
No worries, man.
Interrogations are so I don't want to say funny because I feel like that's insensitive, but it's intriguing to me because they pretty much have an idea now that they've discovered the body that he's potentially the person that did that to them with all the information they received. So they bring him in here, sit him down, and let him go through the story again, pretty much feeding him rope to hang himself, pretty much at this point. That's just, it's crazy. And if you listen to their tones, how they talk at the same time, that gets me as well, because they're saying this and that, like playing more to his story like he wants to give him more room to hang himself.
Wednesday morning, you said you went to the police department?
Yeah, to make talk to him about my parents. The sheriffs kind of gave what they need to make reports, and you just asked about home life.
Everything, right? Okay.
So you got more in depth. Yeah, I think. Wednesday here we are, and throughout the weekend I've been calling.
Kat was interviewed about the same time as that interview, and she would say everything was completely normal. They'd spend a lot of time together in the week after Chandler last saw his parents on the 1st of July. Everything was fine, except for one thing. One morning, Saturday the 3rd of July, Chandler told her he would be home all morning doing chores. However, at one point, she checked on Snapchat and saw his location, and he was not at home. Far from it. 40 minutes away to be exact, in a forest beside a river near Prairie du Sac. When the police went to that location with dogs, that's where they found Krista Halderson. Her legs, at least. This all happened quite quickly. It was the day after he...
How could you even do that to your parents, bro? Like, dismember them like that? Not only did you murder them, but you dismembered them. You had the nerve to sit there and talking about, I called my mom.
He reported his parents missing on the 8th of July. Chandler Halderson was arrested. It was on Thursday, the 1st of July, sometime between 3 and 5 p.m., that Chandler murdered his parents.
Okay.
We got all the background, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So, I think it's time we start talking about what happened to your parents. Like the truthful version. Okay? So, we have 20 pages of writing. We're going to start with a clean, white piece of paper for you to start telling the truth. Okay. Why? Because listen to me. This is the only chance you're going to have to tell us the truth. Okay. Listen. I can't tell you what we know, but we know you're not telling us the truth. We know your parents are no longer with us. Okay, and we know the reason why. Okay, you need to tell the truth. Listen. Listen, you need to tell the truth about what happened and just tell us why it happened. Okay? If something happened, if you were defending yourself or if you just got fed up with stuff, you need to tell us the truth. Okay? This is your chance to tell us why.
I like how they threw that in there. If you were defending yourself, slick little tactic for you to come on and say, "Oh, okay, I might choose that route and go that route," and then maybe they'll believe that story. Then you cling on to that, and then they get you.
Okay? I'm not BSing you. Okay? So can we do that?
Okay, you're okay. What happened? Okay,
you know what happened. We're not going to tell you what happened. You know what happened. You were there when it happened. We're not BSing you, okay?
I wasn't there when it happened. We know more than you think we know. I understand. There's people that have told us things. We have evidence. We have proof that more has happened. Okay. So your parents never made it to the cabin, and I think you know that. You want to stand up and just come over here for me? Do you have anything in your pockets at all? Just a lot.
He didn't even answer. He couldn't even answer. He knew he was caught red-handed. Couldn't even answer.
What's this right here? Vape in the corners. Okay. So they won't take the vape down in the jail. Okay.
Chandler Halderson's search history on his phone revealed, around the 8th of July, revealed a lot of things that wouldn't show up for another couple of days. I'm talking, he was Googling woman, Wisconsin river, dismembered body found. Body found, Wisconsin. Woman's body found, Wisconsin. This was not long before his arrest. And in fact, hours before he was arrested, he called the cops, asking why there were so many in his neighborhood.
A little confused. I got 2 squads parked right outside my house, and they're not really canvassing, they're just kind of sitting there. Is everything alright?
Yeah, I mean, they're in the area doing canvassing, and they're also probably doing a shift change right now, getting our second shift crew on around 3:30.
Oh, there's 4 now. Something going on that we need to know?
No, they come. You nervous. You nervous. They coming to get you, player.
Well, they're probably doing reports. They're probably doing shift change. They've been going around trying to get all the neighbors, so I'm wondering if they're in the area trying to catch people now that they're coming home from work. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to any of them in just a little while.
They were already finding evidence, and very soon would be knocking on his door.
By the way, a detective at my house said something's happened, and while we were leaving, people were going inside. Is there a warrant for my house?
Should there be?
No, I'm just wondering if can they go in?
As far as I know, they were at your house, and they were going to be there talking to you to ask if you would come up here and talk to us.
But Officer Haley just walked pretty much in to the gate, the gate on the outside. Just kind of walked in. I was wondering.
Was that when you were getting your wallet?
No, we were. I was in the car waiting to leave. I was just wondering if everything's okay because she said something's happened.
Okay.
And we need to go down.
Alright, we'll find out what that's about.
Oh, has anything about that? Oh, not sure.
Alright, so Wednesday night, Mom comes home.
He was getting very paranoid. So paranoid, in fact, that he actually ended up reading up on another case that happened in Wisconsin. The State versus Peter Capuzzi. Why that one? Well, in 1999, a bag was found floating along the Wisconsin River. Inside, dismembered remains. It was the wife of Peter Capuzzi. Prosecutors had a lot of evidence against him. Bloody knives, fake alibis, and a fingerprint undermining his timeline. He got life, and Chandler was looking for cases similar to what he had done. So what about the clackety text message, right? The one his mother had sent? Well, her phone was eventually found in the home. In a shoe, wrapped in aluminium foil. In October 2021, the murder weapon was finally found. It was, once again, on the farm, in a barn behind some wooden boards. A rifle, an SKS, Chandler's favourite video game weapon, and real-life weapon. A friend that was in the military had given it to him on the 12th of June, as a present, knowing it was Chandler's favourite.
Why though? But why?
Why did Chandler murder his parents, in such a brutal fashion, chop it up? Hey, why did he murder them at all? He had a promising future ahead of him, great experience, he was getting a job at SpaceX, he had a girlfriend, he had a life you wouldn't want to destroy. Did he though? It was all a big, fat lie.
No, he didn't make up No, he ain't make all that up.
He wasn't in college. He wasn't studying at all. He didn't have a job at American Family or as a teaching assistant. SpaceX me bollocks. He told Kat, his girl, he bought a car and found a place in Florida. No, he did not. None of it was true. He wasn't a diver with rescue. He wasn't anything. Even his head injury that, he was telling to anyone.
I was just about to ask that. Do y'all think he faked his head injury too? This dude.
Anyone who would listen, it was a lie. He did go to the hospital and the doctor said, you've got a mild concussion, here's a neck brace if you need it. He made sure he needed it in front of others. He couldn't actually move to Florida. Well, A, he had no money, and B, there was no job at SpaceX there waiting for him. So he had to have an accident, and therefore he would miss out on his employment with SpaceX. He faked his injury to get out of a job that didn't exist. He was lying. He was holding everybody with lies. His parents believed him, his girlfriend believed him, his brother, everybody thought they knew what he was doing. Everyone believed he had all this college experience and great job and was going to work at SpaceX. Wow! He bullshitted all of it when he was just at home in his room playing games. Why? How could you live like that? He would spin webs to tell people why he was always broke. He would forge emails with his quote-unquote work to show people, it was legit. So long as they didn't look at it for too long. He pretended to work from home due to the pandemic and instead he played video games all day. He was up early in the morning for the job he didn't have. How was work today? Same old, same old. He even faked a call with his dad, pretending to be his college advisor, saying, yep, Chandler, he's a great guy, he's attending all his classes, he's registered for everything, it's going well. Bart then later said to Krista, wow, Chandler's college advisor. Sounds an awful lot like our Chandler. Why? I don't know. But I do know his parents found out. Their suspicions had been mounting for some time. The day before he was murdered, Bart called the college and got through to a real person, an Omar Job, who actually worked at Madison Area Technical College.
Hi, I'm trying to get an appointment scheduled to meet with somebody to mainly just get a copy of the transcript, other degree verification.
Okay, what's your first name?
Chandler's last name is Hald, D as in David, ERSON.
You were taking IT classes, right? I don't see that you were in a program. I don't see that you were admitted in any program.
Do you have an Alyssa Brandt that works in that area or anywhere in the campus?
What is the last name?
BRAN. I think it's T or DT.
You said the first name is Alyssa?
Alyssa? Yeah, ALYSSA.
No. All the branch. There's no Alyssa.
Okay, that should have done. Okay.
Minutes after the call, Bart texted Chandler. I spoke to Omar Job. Chandler knew he had been finally caught out. It was Thursday, the 1st of July, sometime between 3 and 5 p.m. that Chandler murdered his parents. At that time, Bart and Chaz were supposed to have a meeting at the college. And that meeting would not have gone well. All his lies would have been revealed that he didn't have any jobs, he didn't have any degrees, he didn't have anything. Bart's last text to his son was, "I'm ready when you are." Bart was shot in the back with a rifle.
He was mad. He didn't really talk to me too much that day. My mom got home at 5, I believe. That's her normal, 5:20 to 5:30.
Krista then arrived home after work, and we can only guess what happened then, but they were both cut up. He initially tried to burn the remains in the house, in the fireplace. Neighbors noticed, and they smelled. It didn't work, at least not on all of them. The skulls were still in there, but he ended up dumping what he couldn't burn. Many searches were done, landfills, ponds, and on the 1st of September, Chandler Halderson, charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, among other charges, entered a plea of not guilty.
What?
Is the defense ready to proceed with arraignment at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. We did receive a copy of that information, and as you said, it does track the amended complaint. Waive formal reading and stand mute to the charges.
Not guilty pleas will be entered to all 8 counts within the information.
The trial began in January 2022 after he opted for a speedy trial.
But the evidence in this case you'll find is overwhelming. Chandler Halderson killed his parents on July 1st, 2021. He cut up their bodies with axes and saws and knives. And he didn't even give them the dignity of having a funeral or even a final resting place in one piece or together. Their remains were scattered across Dane County, in public land, on farms, in garbage cans, in rivers, and perhaps every ditch is a possibility in this county. You'll find the evidence in this case is overwhelming. Now, over the next couple of weeks, I'll make you a couple promises as your prosecutor in this case. I'm not here to waste your time. But of all the constitutional rights we talked about of Chandler, he has them. I want you to respect them. There's another one that you should know, which is this is the only time we get to have this trial. You get one trial in the United States of America, and I have to do it right. I'm going to ask you to deliver a verdict of guilty, to finally bring some much needed truth to Chandler Halderson. Thank you.
So, Mitchell, I need to ask you a few difficult questions.
I'm guessing that was the opening statement. And, yeah, that don't sound too good for old Chandler there.
Are you a beneficiary for your parents' life insurance?
I am. It is in the...
There it is. There's the... To which I was starting to think he was just upset that they found out. But at the same time, you know, no job. Where were you going to get money from? You done lied. They probably was going to kick you out, tell you to leave, possibly. You know, things that would probably start settling in that you were broke, you were living off your parents, they were done, and they were going to make you figure it out. And that probably what ultimately led to that. And the insurance money, I think now is more so secondary than anything.
If I'm remembering correctly, it is in the ballpark of around $1 million. I believe it went to my mom first. If my dad's death had preceded my mom's, or I guess their policies listed each other as primary, but then yes, also my brother was listed in the same line as I was.
Never mind, y'all. That just pretty much just told you right there. He knew how the policies broke down.
It began on the 5th. The prosecution presented for about 2 weeks with a break in the middle when Chandler caught the viddy, and then the defense presented for like a day. When I say the defense was non-existent, I mean I've never seen a case like this, where it was so non-existent, and he still pled not guilty.
Look for alternate explanations. Because the second thing I want to tell you is that evidence of one thing is not necessarily evidence of another thing. This one fact here could mean a different fact here, but it also could mean 3 or 4 other facts. So you have to avoid jumping to conclusions and really dig deep and look at what this all means.
Their argument was, poor bastards. They didn't have a hope. They kind of just...
It didn't sound like it either. That didn't sound convincing at all, especially not as much as the first dude that went.
Word vomited. Their presentations. They didn't call any witnesses. Chandler did not take the stand.
Only convict when it's proven, or if it's proven, which it won't be, beyond a reasonable doubt.
Pretty much their defense was, we don't know what happened in the house. We don't know how his parents would have reacted to finding out his lies. We don't know if it was intentional or not. So really, we don't know anything. So, they didn't even kind of fucking bother.
Be sure to look for what you're not told, because that's evidence just as much as any evidence is.
I do not know what that means. You weren't told Barney the dinosaur didn't do it, so maybe he did?
Do you know how Bart was killed? Exactly how he was killed. Do you know how Krista was killed? Do you know if it was an awful accident? Do you know if it was intentional? Do you know if there was someone else involved? You don't. And that's a problem.
As you can imagine,
at that point, Chandler should have just stood up and been like, all right, guilty. I'm guilty. Here, just take me. I'm just wasting y'all time at this point.
That did not go down so well.
The verdict form on count 1, as signed by the presiding juror and dated today, reads, "We, the jury, find the defendant Chandler M. Halderson guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as to Bart A. Halderson. We, the jury, find the defendant Chandler M. Halderson guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as to Krista R. Halderson, as charged in count 5 of the amended information." The verdict form for count 6.
Aside from being found guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder, he was also found guilty on the charges of providing false information on a kidnapping, 2 counts of mutilating a corpse, and 2 counts of hiding a corpse. He hasn't been sentenced, but it will undoubtedly be life with no chance of parole. During the trial, he showed no emotion throughout the entire thing, and honestly, I think he was relieved. Relieved he didn't have to lie anymore. That's why he requested the speedy trial. He knew there was no chance for him, and he just wanted it over and done with. An end to the lies. An end to the lies he created. Or maybe he's just an asshole. So that just about wraps up the senseless case, I guess it's the only word I can think of. Case of Mr. Halderson. Chandler, Chaz, Chazzy H. Scary. Lies built upon lies around himself for... I think it would be easier to actually just go to college than do that. He did actually go to college for a semester, failed out, and instead of literally doing anything else, he decided to play games all day and invent new and bizarre ways of lying to his own family. How is that just not eating away at him? How did it get to what it got to? What was going on is in his head. We may never know, as he pleaded not guilty, which went about as well as you would expect. The defense was so bad, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there was a retrial or something like that, some kind of appeal. With the amount of evidence against him, though, it's an uphill battle. Kind of fucked. I think the lesson, really, that we can take from this one is that it's better to have your parents be a little bit disappointed in you than chopping them up with a friggin' handsaw.
Yeah, man. That was a whirlwind right there, bro. I'm just still blown away by that. You just been living a lie. Like, you gotta keep up with those lies, and that's a lot of work, man. You gotta prayers to the family. The other son, he's devastated. Probably, you know what I mean. His parents are gone. His brother did. And he went and he knew the breakdown of the insurance money. That right there, to me, is the final nail in the coffin that proved he had every intention of doing what he did. And the no emotion in court, to me, was no remorse about it. If anything, like he said, he was relieved that it was all over and he didn't have to lie no more. But I told y'all, man, it was about to get crazy. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you thought. And stick around and stay tuned, man. Until the next one, I'm gone. Peace.